The life of Dr. José Rizal, the soul of the Filipino nation.
Welcome to this special journey through the life of one of the greatest Filipinos who ever lived, Dr. José Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Realonda. He was more than just a national hero. He was a doctor, a novelist, a linguist, a traveler, a visionary, and above all, a man whose pen sparked a revolution. So whether you're a student, an expat, a traveler, or simply someone interested in Philippine history, get ready for a fascinating story of courage, intellect, sacrifice, and a fire that still burns today. Humble beginnings in Calamba. Our story begins on June 19, 1861, in the quiet town of Calamba, Laguna, south of Manila. José Rizal was born to a wealthy but humble family of Filipino-Chinese-Spanish ancestry. He was the seventh of 11 children, and from a very young age, he showed signs of brilliance. He could read and write by age 3. At 5, he was already composing poems. His mother, Teodora Alonso, was his first teacher, and she deeply influenced his love of learning. As a child, Rizal was quiet and observant, watching the injustices around him during Spanish colonial rule. He witnessed his fellow Filipinos being treated like second-class citizens in their own land. These early experiences planted the seeds of nationalism that would grow stronger with time. Education and early genius. Rizal's formal education began in Manila at the Ateneo Municipal, where he graduated with highest honors. He then enrolled at the University of Santo Tomas, but after experiencing discrimination there, he made a bold decision to study abroad. In 1882, he left the Philippines and traveled to Spain. There, he enrolled at the Universidad Central de Madrid, earning degrees in medicine and philosophy. But Rizal didn't stop there. He would go on to travel extensively across Europe, mastering over 22 languages, including German, French, Japanese, and Arabic. He studied ophthalmology in Germany, visited Paris, and even connected with other revolutionaries in London and Belgium. Wherever he went, he observed, learned, and wrote the novels that shook the nation. It was during his time in Europe that Rizal wrote the works that would change Philippine history forever. Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. Noli Me Tangere, published in 1887, exposed the corruption and abuse of Spanish friars and officials in the Philippines. The characters, like Crisostomo Ibarra and Maria Clara, symbolize real Filipinos living under oppression. Its sequel, El Filibusterismo, published in 1891, was darker and more revolutionary. It told of a people losing patience and hinted at the coming storm. These novels were banned in the Philippines, but they circulated underground, igniting the minds of Filipinos and inspiring a new generation of revolutionaries. A man of peace and purpose. Unlike many radicals of his time, Rizal believed in reform, not violence. He envisioned a Philippines with equal rights, proper education, and freedom, but achieved through education and civic awakening, not bloodshed. He founded La Liga Filipina, a peaceful reformist group, in 1892 upon his return to the Philippines. But only days after its formation, Spanish authorities arrested him and exiled him to Dapitan, a remote town in Mindanao. The Dapitan years, light in the darkness. For 4 years in Dapitan, Rizal proved he could bring change without power or weapons. He built a school, he taught children, he provided free medical care, he engineered a water system, and even farmed the land. This period showed the heart of Rizal, not just as a writer or thinker, but as a man of action, kindness, and selflessness. It was also in Dapitan that he met Josephine Bracken, an Irish woman who would become his great love. But as the revolution brewed elsewhere, Rizal's fate was already sealed. Arrest, trial, and execution. In 1896, Rizal was allowed to leave for Cuba as a military doctor, but was instead arrested and brought back to Manila. He was accused of sedition and rebellion, despite his clear rejection of violence. After a sham military trial, he was sentenced to death. On December 30th, 1896, at Bagumbayan Field, now Rizal Park in Manila, Dr. José Rizal was executed by firing squad. He faced death with courage and dignity, turning to face the bullets only after falling so that he could die facing the morning sun. Legacy: Rizal lives on. Rizal's death shocked the nation, but it also ignited a revolution. Inspired by his sacrifice, the Filipino people rose up and fought for independence from Spain, which would finally come just a few years later. Today, Rizal is honored as the national hero of the Philippines. His name is etched into monuments, schools, cities, streets, and hearts. But beyond the titles and honors, Rizal's greatest legacy is the awakening of the Filipino spirit, a call to rise, to think, to feel, and to act with love for the nation. For travelers and expats, walk where he walked. If you're in the Philippines, you can trace Rizal's footsteps. Visit the Rizal Shrine in Calamba, his birthplace. See the Rizal Shrine in Fort Santiago, where he was imprisoned before his death. Stand at Luneta Park, Rizal Park in Manila, where his monument now stands. Discover the peaceful town of Dapitan, where his exile became a legacy of service. You'll not just learn about history, you'll feel it. Final thoughts: the hero within. Rizal's life reminds us that true strength lies not in violence, but in truth, compassion, and intellect. That a single person, armed with a pen and a purpose, can change the fate of a nation. So let us not just remember Rizal. Let us continue his work by staying curious, standing for justice, and never forgetting who we are. Mabuhay si José Rizal. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas.
He was more than a man, with a pen like a sword. Wrote the truth in the dark, gave a voice to the ignored. In the pages of Noli and the lines of Fili, he lit the fire of freedom that would never die. A healer portrayed with a poet's soul. Saw the pain in the land, saw the people's toll. He stood not with muskets, but with words so bold. A patriot's heart, a story untold. Oh, Rizal's flame, it still burns today in every dreamer who dares to say that justice won't sleep, that truth won't fade, that love for a nation must never be swayed. You gave your life, but the light stayed true. Forever we rise because of you. From Calamba sun to Madrid's cold night, he fought with his mind for what's just and right. Spoke against the chains without raising a hand. A quiet revolution led by a man. His eyes saw the future, his words wrote the way. For a country still sleeping, he lit the day. Though they took his life on Bagumbayan shore, his message lives on forevermore. Oh, Rizal's flame, it still burns today in every dreamer who dares to say that justice won't sleep, that truth won't fade, that love for a nation must never be swayed. You gave your life, but the light stayed true. Forever we rise because of you. The youth are the hope of the nation, he said with conviction, a timeless foundation. And though he is gone, his spirit remains in every child who dares to change things.